різних країн. З іншого боку, ми очікуємо достатню активність від вас. Так, чи все в рамках
and we expect more active participation from you. Maybe you have other questions, and we will be just delighted to answer. So please, we have a chat. We can expect for your questions you can have, and also we have. If something is not clear to you, please write to us. And the next point, please try to think. Do you have a ready portfolio? In fact, it is possible for you as a creative artist or person. You should have a portfolio. Maybe you can be present at a platform where you have your works. It can be information with documents with some pages which explain what you are doing, but it should be. And if kind of have products, and please tell us, we will help. We will think how to help you in shorter time to cooperate. Olga, can I add a comment? Yes, please. So, friends, let's tell each other. We would like to sell whatever we are doing. We would like to have this chance to earn money. So the talents and the products which you develop, somebody maybe is selling, but somebody is just understands that the efforts are not enough. For sales, we want to sell, and all of you are interested in new markets, in sales of your own products. So we just not encourage you, but we propose to you already move in this way. Just select your product, think, communicate. What could be potential products for collaboration, for mutual joint cooperation, going into European market. So we are together with you. 300 people from 5 countries from Europe are interested in the same thing. So today you have an opportunity to go directly and use this tool yourself. But to do this, you should be clear what you want to sell. What are your products that are ready? Do they have packages already? And maybe you have already questions after our first sessions to our experts. Maybe you need more consultations, so you need to speak about this, and so that is why we ask for your feedback, and that is why Olga is talking to you now about. So we cannot disagree. So the aim of this product is to help you to integrate into the market which is waiting for you for your products, and we will be happy to present you at different platforms. But as soon as we get from you a request, so it could be two ways. Maybe you decide that you don't need our assistant, but if you decided to be active and promote your products yourself, so we could be useful for you and helping you to promote them. So we come to the next point. Please ask yourself, do you have questions to the experts? If you have, please ask them. So I will remind you that inside this education program, at the beginning of the first half of November, we will work with you. We will invite experts, and when we ask them to fill their topics we expect for you, so that you understand what you want. And also, we have 5 professional photographers. Probably you have questions, and maybe there are elements of correction. Maybe you can give some hints, or maybe you would like to listen to a workshop with specific questions. So we needed to develop a requirement for experts. Maybe they will look for in the internet some requests for the workshop to be helpful, and we will ask you to give us questions. And so I will request from you just review our program for the upcoming time, and if you have recommendations, your wishes, or some priorities which are related to the workshop, so they should be related to your expertise, and please write to us, and we would like to solve this technical issue. Can I add a bit, please, friends, to sell, we need to understand what we are selling to get the buyers to the customers, the partners in galleries or through other channels of promotion to understand whether you can go somewhere. We need to have the products where we are going. So that is why we will need to have the feedback session, and we will expect from you where you will sell. We say, colleagues, I wanted to sell this, this, and that, and you will be capable to show and bring attention to your competitive advantages, or maybe some technical segment, or maybe other things that can be interesting for our international partners, those who will help us to sell, and those with whom you, in collaboration, you will be capable to come to European market. So once again, please, Olga, thank you that you pointed to this, and we expect from you for the feedback. Please tell us what is specifically be possible in your industry, to how to improve your products, and how to bring them to the European market. And thank you a lot. And I cannot avoid a comment. Please put your questions in the chat. All the participants are here, and please use it not as an information channel, but also use it actively for common joint communication. And so we are moving forward, and I give you green light. So you can ask how you can place information about your products, how to place collections, albums, and so on. At the beginning, we didn't know each other. We didn't know finally what are the projects, how we can work together. And if we didn't knew, we would be lost. But now we already 1 month has passed, and we make conclusions. What could be the project? How we will work? Please use this opportunity for co-working, and we give you the green light to tell about your project, how you wish to cooperate, and how to work actively together. And now, so this is the list of a workshop which will be later. I would like to stop on this slide. It's not self-important. It's a task from our international partners, and now we understand that the results, the portfolios prepared and to make them for all 60 and all 300 people will be difficult. So we work actively, and we will push release a bit forward, but to cooperate so that we knew the residents from other countries to read about them, to get acquainted. Please, by the end of tomorrow, you need to fill the form to develop the tool and to, so that we have this important information. So on the website of the project, with in English, there is a list of 300 residents from creative centers, and each participant should be present with information with a short description. Um, uh, so a short presentation with 2-3 sentences, maybe with photos, also English or Ukrainian, and for example, there is a description. I will read it so that we will understand how. So I, professional photograph, I love read books. I love to walk in the streets, and I like to present my products at the international exhibitions. Mm, so you can write in this format. It could be in Ukrainian. We will translate it into English. And those who are from outside Ukraine, please do it in English. And to you should write with what project you are interested in. And so we placed already our tasks, and people are waiting for you with your self portrait, but it should not be only face. For example, please give your photos as it is on the Ukrainian side. It can be with some objects, for example, a camera or, object of your interest. If you are a painter with a brush, for example, but we should understand how do you see your image. If you make some handmade products, maybe give us an image of your product. So it's not only your selfie, but a selfie with an object that a scene of your interest, and prepare a description of yourself, and also big request we would like to see Ukrainian residents all beautiful with good descriptions, so that you would rise the interest of the people. So our partners from Greece and Turkey, they are responsible for presentation of that. So if you have ideas about cooperations, we will write about them. So, for example, we have a request from a painter from Greece who wants to develop a performance with musicians. So anybody of you who is ready, we will would like to put you into contact. So we expect for you for this form to be filled. You can do it today evening, but today, by the end of the day, all 60, please do it. So, for example, and if you don't send it in the morning, we will call you just to remind you. And maybe I will add, friends, it is not a task, but it is a request of our partners who are very interested in creative people from Ukraine and their works. You understand that war today gave to Ukraine famous character, and today there is interest for products, and the market wants them, and it's not so good to have this as an opening opportunity, but let's use this opportunity anyway. It's worth that we push Ukraine, our culture products, and there is the demand for this today, and people ask us today, who are them? Please show, so that if we want this to work, we need to cooperate. So I request everyone, let's sell Ukrainian products. So that is why we needed to do these small things to present ourselves with self-presentations, and make small promotions. Please, colleague, use these opportunities. They are open. And now, before we go, Olga, we can come to the second block now. I would like to conclude, and I will repeat these questions once again. I will in the chat, because we have 20 residents. It is not so much.
Ось вімкнений Маріна Ковальчук. Я вимикаю вам звук. Дуже попрошу відповідально поставитися до запитання.
So please be responsible to these questions. And now at this phase, we can go to topical part, which is the central one today. This is the aim of our today's meeting, and the topic of our second lesson is networking, and a comment is that knowledge to cooperate, to communicate with people is very important, and especially for you, creative people, because it's your colleagues, partners, and community who pushes you, your ambassadors for your products. So it will work in this way, depending on your notoriety, the knowledge about you, and we would like to help you. And we encourage you very much to create a cooperation inside Ukraine, and we will do anything for you, whatever possible, and we call for you to use proposals from residents from other countries who wanted to cooperate with Ukrainian residents, and all requests which we receive, we will place in the chat, and it will give you another new opportunity. And this is the organizational block, and I will give the floor to Artem, our moderator. And thank you, Olga. And before we give the floor to Olga Lushchyk, please let's switch on the camera, and for several minutes we will see each other. So it's much more pleasant. We will see each other. So I understand that everyone is thinking already about the selfie request, but let's see each other first of all from our devices. So Olga, please, we are alive here. We are very pleasant, creative people, and Olga Lushchyk, she's a certified consultant, business trainer, developer of role games and simulations in market, specialist in marketing and audit of marketing and creation of systems of sales management, strategic management, but she is focused on marketing, promotion, and communication. And in the majority of our events, we will be speaking about marketing. We understand that everyone of us has something to sell, but to whom and how to package, how to develop the style to be successful And this is how we focus within this project. So, Olga, Lushchyk, welcome. Good afternoon, friends. Nice to meet you. Very pleasant to see your smiling faces. And you see the day behind your backs. I am already in the dusk, so you are much more to south. So, colleagues, to start communication with you, please write in the chat, if possible, what product you would like to sell, what you would like to communicate about with your potential markets, and please, one or several words are enough so that I understand which products we will be talking more today. So, photography. What else? Painting, perfect. Books, leaflets, and decoration of clothes, illustrations. So, all creative products, ceramics, illustrations, and painting. So, I see some of you have several activities, and today we will speak that groups of your communication, they will not be the same. They will be the same and coincide with your activities. And so, in rough, if you speak about communication and communication with other people during your sales of services, so I see the table where painting decorations. I'm envious about you. It's so beautiful that Olga gathered so creative people around them. And the scene we will speak about first will be the target audience with whom you will be communicating first of all, and you plan to communicate. And following our method of communication in this dialogue, please write whom you see as a target audience in your communication, to whom you would like to bring this information about your creative work. So I see somebody is writing. So you write who is your target audience. Nothing is chat by now. All right. So big numbers, very many people. So libraries, tourists, any other ideas or options? Potential client, maybe a corporate customer with illustrations. So it means you are a publisher or somebody who uses illustrative materials for the product. Okay, any other variants? The whole world, perfect answer. So no, I cannot disagree. The more people know about you, so food packages, illustrations, the more people know about you, the more successful you will be in your strategy in the promotion. But the start of cooperation, we need to know the focus of your attention. It's very important. Why? Because we can cry in the world about our paintings, but it is not evident that we will increase our sales. You can communicate with only one gallerist and sell your work, and will be a good start for you. But our task today not to talk with you today how to communicate, but also to think which audience will be the most effective for you, because communication is not your main activity. You should have forces to work in the creative work. So the more focused you will be, your focus communication, it will get you more satisfaction. So then we will talk about structure of communication and interaction. So I have a presentation. So do not be afraid.
Комунікації,
We will
зокрема,
speak which subjects of communication, about means of communications, effects, barriers, and all kinds of things which will touch you as creators of products. And I would like to tell you that this need of communication is not a problem of only of artists. It's even a problem for such huge structure as NATO, the huge alliance, and even them they should have the segments how to bring the messages to big numbers of people. And you should understand this also. If you want to bring the same information to 1 million of people, it's much likely that a big number of your audience will look at you as a spammer. So it's better to focus. For example, how NATO structures their interactions. They have, for example, they have audiences. Maybe some people who should create people's perception of messages. There are mass media who help NATO um, to create these communications. So they have needs, and they are working on high speed communication. They have allies, and sometimes this communication is not public, but for itself, organization and yourself as well should understand who are your allies. And if you can communicate with your allies in the same ways as with millions of your potential contact subjects, it's much highly probable that you will lose this contact with your point of communication. So you should understand who is your ally. There will be some neutral subjects of interaction with you. So they are not your allies, but people who have not created their positions as for you. But before we speak about the allies, I would like you to write in the chat who could be your allies in promotion of international communication. Who are your allies?
так. Чи є якісь відповіді в чатику?
Mhm.
Я демонстрацію
Waiting
гляну,
for the chat. I stop the screen and I look into the chat.
Так, арт-дилер, галерист,
Art dealer, gallerist,
дякую. Хто
performer, good ideas. Who is ready? Who else is ready to write about your allies?
Так, Так, в чаті тиша, зрозуміла.
So
Інтерактивний
it is
формат
quiet
стався.
in the chat,
Відповідь є. Є
and
колеги,
at least we have
які
one
Zeus
reply.
Мгм.
Colleagues,
Дякую за такий коментар, колекціонер.
thank you
Мгм.
for your comment, a
Це
collectionist,
не та людина, яка
an ally who is not who will buy your work for yourself, but who will help you to sell. For example, for one half hour you were talking with Artem and Olga. They are your allies. The more efficient you achieve your goals, the more efficient they achieve their goals. They're not your competitors. Please, in this chat, do we have people who can be your allies as of today?
Є якісь ідеї?
Do you have any ideas?
Окей, які
So the residents,
хто із резидентів?
well, which residents,
Давайте я наведу такі приклади, та перестану вас мучити.
who is among residents? I will give you maybe examples. We have participants of this discussion who say they are photographers. There are participants who write they are not photographers, but they create some artistic works as painting, but to take pictures of paintings to sell them, you should have specific skills, and maybe some of your colleagues who are here in our today's Zoom, who is inside this project, they are not your competitors. You do not compete for
Але якісна
customers,
зацікавити ту людину.
so who want to have a photos, but high quality photos which will be helpful for you to gain your customers. So you can communicate. Then we can move forward. So the allies, they are already interested in interaction with you, so they will declare openly their position, or you can imagine that they can be interested in interaction with you. The neutral people, there are those who do not know about you, but or they know but do not declare their interest in cooperation. So you know that the galleries are numerous. Are the galleries or partners from Turkey are interested whether they can be your allies? Galleries from Germany are neutral. Maybe they are interested in your products, but they do not demonstrate this interest. So, as for your product, this is the neutral audience. So, we move forward. I will show you the screen again. And we can speak about the structure of interaction. There could be opponents or people who compete with you for some attention, and we can have in the artistic products the competition not only between the creators of the same works. So the creators, they don't have a competition normally, because buying artistic work is related to some tastes of the customer, potential customer, aesthetics of customer. So for artistic works, the biggest competition is coming from a general economic situation in the world. So let's imagine that we have the general situation in Ukraine. So it means we will be capable to be more visible in the world. market.
через те, що
So let's say one day Ukraine will be out of information
те, що називають невідомою аудиторією від певної теми.
environment in the good way, because the bad people will be punished, and and we cannot speak about things which cannot happen, but they can happen, and some other point can come to information field that will cut interest to us as Ukrainians. So our task is to be topical or relevant, to be spoken about by world community, and the more beautiful content we create, you are bringing more attention. And as it was said by Artem at the beginning of our talk today, it will play for Ukraine's benefit, and you create the image of Ukraine as an artistic country or state. So international changes, it can be good audience as well, and some supporters. The supporters are those who cannot be your allies immediately, but they can create some informational load around you. And let's split some communication subjects. We will speak about source of information. You are the source of information. You establish your message. You will tell what you will be speaking about, but you cannot be a communicator. For example, your paintings are selling well. Your works are selling well in the world, and you do not want to communicate. You just hire a communication expert. He creates a post in Facebook. He communicates instead of you. So everything is perfect. So in this way, the source of an information and communicator, they're together. So we tried to model your target audience, and of course, in any communications there are barriers. Barriers can be technical. For example, as I said, because not every painter can take good photos, and each problem has different ways of solution, from some psychological, physical specifics, because of perception, some semantic problems when we cannot bring the sense, psychological problems. How can I praise my works? So we do not know how to praise our works, especially in our country. Some social norms. How can I approach this big status gallerist and propose my mugs? They are beautiful, your cups, but some perception problems can exist. So please write in the chat, what are you? What are you like? And please give me some bright impressions about participants of this project. So you are like what? Talented, very pedantic. So maybe I'm not creative, but I'm a strong-willed person. For example, perfect organizer, creative, perfect. What else? So 4 people involved. The others are looking or just watching. Okay, alive. So being alive and survive. This is characteristics of additional senses now, because we thank each other that we are alive. Modest. So well, thank you. You confirm my words, Olena. So today we have the task to do something with our modest character, because our modest character is the biggest barrier in our communication. So not praise ourselves, but let's praise our works, results of our labor, our work. What are the results of your work? Please put it in the chat.
Мгм. Всі задумалися.
So everyone is thinking.
Професійні.
So how you look at them? Professional, of course. If you speak about illustration, technical photography, it's very good. A good characteristics, very
Що ще?
much required. What else?
Ага, питання. Отже,
So
питання.
the question,
Похваліть, будь ласка,
please praise
результати праці, так?
the results of your work,
Вироби, вони які?
your products. What are them?
М,
What are they like, your products?
дуже самокритичні.
So self-critical, of course. Of course, we can be
За базу для
better,
порівняння.
depending on what we take as the basis for
Класно.
comparison.
Гарний,
For popular, good comment,
Будь ласка, увагу,
and
як красиво
please
Василь загорнув.
take
Він не лише висловив
it
певну характеристику,
how Vasil just created a phrase. He enveloped it in the characteristics, but he gave some
хороший
spacious
як
measurement that his works are popular. Is very good way to
цього прекрасного коментаря.
come around this trap of modesty.
Знаєте, що є різні стилі
So you
живопису, є
know perfectly that there are different types of painting. There are different people with different tastes, and of course we can
на щось і самокритичність художника чи здатність
take something as a orientation, as a techniques of a painter, and so characteristics of somebody can be the source of your inspiration, but it is not what you would better tell your potential users at the beginning of your communication. You will have a million possibilities to develop further ways of improvement, but at the beginning, our task is to get interest of people into cooperation with you. So you should say something that will become a magnet for the attention of your audience. So let's look at what we have in the chat. Brilliant, patriotic, bright. So illustrations are well sold. So we can say they are beautiful. So now our task in the nearest time to praise ourselves. And this task, which Olga asked you to perform, to write your resume, first of all, it is composed of how you will praise yourself. And today we will learn how to praise ourselves in the way and speak about ourselves in the way that it would be not dull, and it would be comfortable for you and the person who will receive our message or will communicate with you in this project. So we are coming back to results of our work. So I said already, we speak that in our communication there is a certain goal and task at the different phases of communication. You will have different goals and tasks with audience, unknown audience. We needed to attract the attention mm, with known already. We should define what will be the goal. We'll talk later. So we have a reputation, and this reputation we are creating also during the interaction, and we will talk today about components of reputation. And we have some mm, target audiences which we were speaking today already, and we should define what will be the audience with whom we will communicate more. We create different messages for different audiences. So we will tell that I am the most punctual and responsible photographer in the world. For somebody else, we will say that we are the best creative illustrator who creates the best illustrations. So maybe someone does not need your punctuality or responsibility, but they need something that they didn't have on that market. So we will say that we have some risks, but we will not be focused too much. And of course, we will measure the reputation in some way and the budget on which we can count. So the positioning, of course, you will have these slides and you will be capable to think about these things, but artistic space today is related to ideology and not depending whether the artist produces some quality or creates some product with high quality or song, for example. But the understanding should be there that this person came in this world with some bigger goal. If you look at the awards or at the prestigious musical awards, the era when people were coming out and saying that thanks to my mom, thank you my musical producer, this era was finished long ago. If you remember about what the stars are talking at these musical awards now, can you write into to the chat? Does anyone has memories about these things? They think about our victory. So, for example, they say that they support the justice. The justice is important. The peace is important for them. Support of the people for in their fighting for freedom. The freedom is their value. For example, Madonna was talking about the importance of safety of young women. Some people they are focused on perspectives for young black women. So some people are focused on environment, and very often people they're joining a bigger idea which they translate or broadcast, and people support you not as a creator only, but a person who has the bigger mission, bigger than you yourself. As an example for you, maybe you saw it already, but in some regions of Ukraine, artists faced the things that people were paying for some handmade products, but saying that but saying that please send them as soon as you have this chance.
Нам важливо вас
So we value you
вас
and your products, but you can keep the products because we value your
будь ласка,
creative
дівчата,
work.
напишіть, якщо у вас було
Please put
щось
it
схоже.
into the chat if you had something similar to that.
Так, поки не бачу в чаті таких.
So I don't see this in the
Чи
chat.
хто працював на міжнародному ринку,
Those
знає,
who
що
worked on
після
international markets
повномасштабного вторгнення були
before
дуже
this massive invasion.
Так, в когось дуже шумить мікрофончик. Чи можу я попросити модераторів всіх замютити?
So someone has a microphone switched on. So please switch the microphones of everyone. Mm. So did you have a situation when you could not supply an order because of the war? So our task is to understand what is the bigger idea which we will support with our work. Maybe you can choose something which will give you the feedback and something that you are ready to support not only couple of years but a bigger period of your career, so that the people would understand that you are making efforts and support some very important messages for your life. So yes, people were writing about support. Thank you that you are sharing your ideas about this support. So we were speaking about the values, and let's speak about the form in which these values can be packaged. Please, does anyone see or hear the word archetype? Do you have any knowledge about what is the archetype? Please make pluses in the chat if you know. So I don't see anything by now in the chat. According to Young, Daria, I agree with you fully. And of course, as other and many other instruments in psychology, marketing takes a psychological model and shapes it in the way to assist you in providing impression on your target audience in the most efficient way. So I will ask you a thing. So we need the archetypes to orient ourselves very fast in the environment. And this is a set of models in our thinking and which is relevant to a very big audience of people, so that we understand it better. I will show you the examples. How do you imagine a thinker, a person who thinks? How can you write in the chat? How do you imagine a thinker? What does he look like?
Так, чекаємо. Будь ласка, насправді, в нас ж такий дуже демократичний
So,
чат.
please, it's a chat which is very democratic. We don't have very radically right or wrong ideas. So, for example, a person with a beard, a kind of Socrates. What else? How visually will you understand that the person is a thinker? Maybe he will have a posture, or maybe a face
Окей, може бути.
with white hands. All right.
Ми трошки подумали про мислителя, як би
So we thought a bit about the thinker, but what will be
коханка. О, давайте
the archetype of a she lover, a women archetype of a lover? How will she look like? So in the stereotype way, please.
Що, ніхто не знає, як коханки виглядають?
So
Приваблива,
you don't know
весела,
how they
дякую,
look like. The lovers attractive, cheerful. What are
зваблива, дуже класно.
what are other characteristics?
Є
Oh,
певні
seductive,
інші люди. От Василь говорить
like
про правду життя.
other people. So Vasil speaks about the truth of life. So she is like all the others, but archetypically, it is it's accepted as it's a very playful woman with a lipstick on her
Якось так.
lips, with a maquillage in this way. But how do you imagine a ruler?
Товариші, ні, Сергій, абсолютно з вами згодна.
So anybody can imagine in different way. So Sergey, I agree with you.
Як ви уявляєте собі правителя? Як
How do you see the ruler?
могла би виглядати
How
людина,
could
мужчина чи жінка,
a
яка
person,
несе
a man or
правителя?
woman look like who is a ruler, who rules over other people,
Скоріше за все, Сергій,
reigns?
він навряд чи буде
Р-
яскраво проявляти свої емоції. Ще степенність, діловий костюм, годинник, тобто певні дорогі атрибути будуть.
Very serious, of course, because he needs to show his attitude to other people. Very reserved, with good watch.
Ми пішли вже так в характерології гарно.
So we
Чудесно.
we are going to characteristics now. Perfect, Daria. You are interested in psychology.
Пропонуйте свій варіант.
Very expensive attributes. I do not agree. Well, Sergey, present your variants.
Давайте ми тепер
So let's try today to lay in the reverse movement. So I will tell you some names of characters, and you will write in the chat how you think to which archetype belongs to this image of the person, because we don't know how the people communicate, but we see an image very reserved. Of course, there are rulers like this. So let's see public people. If you remember, there was a public subject who was not so much respected, Volodymyr Zhirinovsky. How do you think what archetype he projected? So the clown, the king's clown. Yes, clown, jester, psychopath, hysterical psychopath. Yes, I agree. So let's continue. Do you remember Zelensky when he just presented his candidature? How would you imagine his archetype at that moment? It resembled to what? So he was a good guy. So he was rather a friend, just a buddy from the town. So he was saying, I'm very simple. I'm from the regular people. I do not know these very difficult things. So maybe so let me imagine other characters. Let's say Aristovich. How do you think which archetype he translates?
Любовник, заспокійливе,
Love, very
ніякий.
mm,
Ні, ви знаєте,
psychologist, comfortable psychologist.
і такі варіанти теж.
Nobody. So there is a variant like this.
Ми отримали в нас в чатику, знаєте, такі
So we received in our chat very different perception variants of Aristovich. Of course, he would be happy if he is perceived as a magician. So he is quiet. He knows the knowledge which nobody knows. Oh, the magician who speaks about psychology. Thank you for this comment. Depending on what and with whom we talk, we can translate or project different archetypes. In the politics, he has a different archetype. So we trained each other a bit. We just thought and looked at different archetypes, and we were looking whether we perceive public people. Why I was speaking about archetypes? Because archetypes will be on the photos which you will be placed on this.
Ви будете робити селфі. Перепрошую, хтось включився мікрофончик. Дякую.
In this portfolio,
Ви будете
and
демонструвати
you will show
риси притаманні
your features, your personal features
демонструвати приналежність
only of you, and you will show how you belong to a certain archetype through your photo. Please, do you see maybe approximately which archetype you would like to project in this photo, which will be placed in your short description, which you will send to Olga?
Сергій, дякую вам.
Thank you, Sergey.
Знаєте, ми дійсно
So, you know, we really want to be real, but people perceive us first of all through some sample, and then they get acquainted with us. And there is a point that we wanted to present us in a certain way, and we are perceived differently. So we should understand from the point of model or sample whether we want to be perceived like this. So emotional, creativity, influential, individual.
Знаєте, маркетинг
So you know the marketing, it's very often about starting sample perception, and we speak very often about the fact that we are filtered very often whether we are acceptable or not, friend or enemy. And at the beginning, we should select to whom we would like to come. There are audiences which will be very happy about such archetype as a rebel. So you want me to see in this way, but I'm not in this way. So there are audiences which love the rebels, and they support these archetypes. There are people who look in any
можливо, будуть відгукуватися на якісь особливі
reflection, they look for artists, creators, and maybe they will reply to you if you show yourself, even with a very small photo or selfie.
Давайте я от
Uh,
з вами пожартую,
So
попрошу, щоб ви
let me
мені
make a
написали
joke
вашу
with you. Please write which archetype I am related to, as you think.
Хранитель? Несподівано.
Keeper. So
Комфорт.
unexpected. Teacher.
Насправді,
Comfortable.
я хотіла бути для вас другом.
Body.
Дуже хотіла би. І,
Friend. Of course, I would like to be your friend. And to be related to an archetype, it's not a lie. It is not always a lie. So my position to be your friend, and I project it in all kinds of my possible ways, and we move forward. Besides that, we create a photo with you and demonstrate an archetypical image. We have an image which is about the text and the illustration. About the text and illustration. So, do we have a logotype? Do we have an understanding in which colors it should be put, which phrases we will use in our communication? And our task in these several sentences which Olga showed you in the sample. So, for example, I'm this and this. I live in Istanbul. I am a photographer. So, how to place these several sentences with what phrases? How to bring your human features to the person with whom you will communicate. So, Konstantin, you are flattering me. There is a compliment in the chat. So, godmother, magician. So, of course, I'm a godmother, but I'm not so magic. Of course, I need to work a lot. So, let's look in the way. So, what and how you see the phrases or words that can make you different in the text, different from other people, other descriptions, self-presentations of artists, for example, even in your group. Do you have any idea what can you use out of words, phrases, any vocabulary which can make you different from other participants of the group? So quietness in the chat. So of course, it is a difficult question. So challenge and emotion. So there is a scene like a metaphoric speaking. For example, fresh as a movement of a sea breeze. So from this ceramics is so quiet to drink coffee in the evening city. When we speak in the way to raise some emotions of the people. Or, for example, we use certain rhythms in formulations. So let's say 1, 2, 3, done. If we speak with a photographer, so it will not be long, but the processes are very fast. We can use some language tools to show the character of interaction with us, or maybe we can joke, use some, so to say, swear lexics, so we are not so tolerant now to obscene lexics now, but sometimes it's very important now to use some intellectual lexics, some terms. If you are speaking that you are a professional, you can say which technologies or specifics or let's tell me what, for example, which lenses you use in your photo cameras. And this is characteristic of your character, and it will be a feature which will speak for your personality. So your task is to describe in the shortest way who and who you are and like what, and what you should not do when you are writing these short communication formulas, which Olga told you as a task. It's very bad to copy a sample, because to copy anybody, it's not a solution. So I propose to you to do your homework in the best way, which Olga asked you to do, to describe you in short how you think. It's better to copy and to be very different at the same time. So you speak in a romantic way, then in a business way, and then you joke, and then you use obscene lexics, and your reader does not understand what to do with this information. So, in fact, you do not do a mistake if it is a short message, but if during several months you should create an interaction in Facebook, it's a very big mistake. For example, a children brand starts on the page to include young girls with bikinis, so it will not be relevant, and we should think twice how this or that image corresponds to our basic message. So we were speaking that we are very friendly, approachable, and we are very, very close with such archetype, and just and roughly we place a message before a religious holiday, which is too radical and cannot be compared with that friendly communication which we were building before. So we think very precisely whether what we wanted to communicate it corresponds to what doing we were doing before and communicating before. What we should think about when we develop a specific interaction with the client. So, company style, for example, for carpenter or
Я знаю одну мистерню,
porter,
яка
we should develop a style of the workshop. I know an artist who creates clay cups. On every cup, she decorates them with pets of the customer. I have a cup with my cat, and it's so
що за автор цієї роботи?
wonderful for me. And every time I remember who is the author of this
Було би добре, щоб ви
work.
в якийсь спосіб ви будете їх
If you have
знати, як будете
some
описувати,
some products, you should think how you will brand them, how you will sign them, which advertising tools you will
може ви будете
use.
брати участь
You will make a PR or press releases. You will take part in some PR events
пан Артем і пані Ольга
bigger than organized by Artem and Olga. Maybe organized for a region, and you will join them depending on your brand. How to keep this brand visible? So very little time. Really, I will wrap up our introduction. I will come to communication means. So now we sell very much through internet, less than in the mass media. Mass media actually they are an obsolete channel, but they work very well with some traditional audiences. So if you select mass media, for example, a newspaper, a magazine, some beauty magazines, for example, they have very good communications, but you should think how you will communicate with your readers and what you want to establish. Maybe you will have meetings with your target audiences in person. So there are meetings organized by galleries for painters during the opening of some exhibitions. I don't know other variants now. Maybe in your field you can have personal meetings with your audience. In which way? So, for example, you are a publisher, or in Ukraine it is not so much developed, but in Europe, for example, publishers can have a journey to present the book or books. So I know that a publisher brings into to Germany books about Jordan, and they speak in German about the books of a precise author. So in this way, they present Ukrainian culture, and they help to the readers to communicate with the creator. Sometimes there are variants when you take part in some events. For example, there is a big collection or exhibition of works or in the industrial exhibition, and you can present your works during such exhibition, and on the contrast you can get lots of impressions when people are stumbled at the entrance, because the content is different, and but it brings very much attention to you, and you can have very high quality materials, even distributed physically. For example, some booklets or small pieces which can stay in the hands of people. And you can have materials which you can spread in the internet. So, for example, your website, your business card, and maybe you have some contacts which you have not collected yet, but still collect them. At the beginning of a meeting, we were speaking that you have your allies and the people who can be willing to help you, and you should be interested to get this information to coordinate the efforts for your goals. The channels can be your own, whatever can be used for you to spread your information, your website, your social media, your events, whatever you developed for yourself and implemented, and also involved channels where anybody else organized, and you somebody 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 organized something, but you came to the platform. For example, there is a blogger with 1 million coverage, and you are very much interested because he contacts your audience, and you agree, or maybe you are friends with this blogger, and he is ready to show your cup with a cat as a gift, and maybe it can become your involved platform. But if you pay to him, so it goes to the paid category, and we will speak about all other tools for such interaction. What is task to communicate, and they involved, they give the impression of alternative point of view, because it doesn't look like that we praise somebody, they praise somebody in return. But when they speak about different aspects interesting for the audience, and it gives the mm, possibility not to bore the audience, but provide information about yourself, and paid. So this is the focused interaction when you need to calculate the efficiency of your influence, because it will be about the efficiency of investments of money for your audience. And there are some aspects of media planning, but as of now, it already you are starting your movement in this direction. So I will tell you more about structure of communication, because we speak that some interaction with such audiences can be built in this consequence. So we needed to attract attention first, and please remember an example when the example when I told you how to place the artistic stands on industrial exhibition, when a person did not expect that a very bright painting which creates some mood, but is inside the context which is not related. It will take attention, it will draw attention, but we should understand what will be the result of such interaction. It can be negative or positive. You can argue as well, but now in our nowadays of these faster communication, negative communication does not exist. So if people heard about you, there will be a part of those who will be
скандалах,
y- using or building the communication on scandals, on intrigues, on some unpleasant things, not depending what, but the most important to be heard about. And I don't have the right to tell you that it doesn't work or not. Different things work. And the most important what you will do and how. If you draw the attention of people, you should show them that it will be interesting for them. And an interesting aspect is how do you understand your audience? So, for example, we have a gallerist, and of course, he will be interested in some artistic trend, and galleries sometimes they have some preferences. Somebody works with antiques, somebody works with abstractionists, somebody works with handcrafts, because they know how to separate and distribute. But if you understand what is the speciality of this gallerist to whom you mm, apply, and of course, every gallerist wants to earn money. Why to do this anyway? But if not to earn, but to earn reputation, how he will cooperate with you uh, selling artistic work? If you the better you understand the interest of outlook, um, depending on what are the trends in the art, what are the uh, styles in fashion, the better you understand, the more you will get in contact with people who are interested. Before, after you provided an interesting contact, you should create a wish to buy. Can I ask you now, last time when you bought something out of things which are not related to everyday purchases, what created your desire to buy this? Can you share this in the chat in a couple of words? What was the impact?
Наразі тиша.
Quiet by now.
Чекаю на коментарі. Емоція.
Hmm.
Дякую.
So, emotion. Thank you, Konstantin.
Естетичність.
Aesthetic. So,
Поки що в нас тиша в чаті, а я почну
so it is quiet in the chat, and we'll start speaking a bit about the convincers.
теж аспектів психології.
So these are the psychological aspects which marketing involved. The researchers say that there are people who take decisions based on emotional feeling
з яким вони зараз зіткнулися.
with which they are now. For example, you select an apartment for rent. So just imagine. So you come and you see yourself in the apartment. At the end of the day, there is the sunset. You see a beautiful landscape outside the window. So you are emotionally touched, and sometimes you cannot notice that some wallpapers are coming loose in a corner, but this emotional feeling of the aesthetics of this landscape outside will bring you to the idea. So I see a hand.
Я думала, що ви хочете включитися голосом. Я би
I thought you wanted to speak.
Саме так і було. А тепер
Okay,
інший варіант.
and
Ага. Так,
another variant,
такі яскраві
and
переживання,
everyone
коли
started
починають сверлити вашу стіну,
to
в момент, коли ви
support.
пішли дивитися.
Sometimes
Все одно, та, яка
when the neighbors start to drill the wall,
працювати і жити не зможете.
you will need
Коли, наприклад,
no idea about the tiles or whatever is the sanitary ware. You will not never live in this flat or apartment. So we can speak about the same content which will go through different channels of information. You got information about the apartment from a newspaper, from the realtor, from the web chat, and there will be the impression that there will no other apartment besides this one. So it is cited so many times from different channels. And sometimes you wanted to look at an object or at a place because it is not often shown, but it is shown regularly from time to time, and you have the impression that you can do nothing without this telephone model or maybe this book, because during one period of 6 months it was on every big board and in every magazine. So sometimes we can influence once and we can convince, but sometimes we can make long messages which will appear during some period, and so with a spoon by spoon method we will make an impression. Or maybe it can be a message, but at a time from different sources, and it will be an impression that it is needed and the person would like to buy. Of course, let's say you spoke, but you didn't explain how to buy. So it will be a reference point how to buy, but fast. If you want to be cited, please put your telephone number. If you want the people to go to your website, place your website. If you wanted to be contacted, place your telephone number. Give some instruction, whatever you want, that people get this feeling to buy something from you. And in this way, some consequence is created. So attention, interest, and desire, and finally, in which way to interact with you to buy. At this point, I will round up because I can speak about such things for hours, but I received the time only up to 8 o'clock, and I would like you now to switch on the microphones and share the impressions. I read the chat when I switch off the presentation. So Olena is saying she does not believe superficial information. So of course people are different and they react differently in different interaction methods. So we should understand the features of our target audience. Please switch on your cameras. If you want to, please switch on your microphones and share your impressions, what you took for yourself, what was interesting and attractive for you out of what I was telling you. Dear friends, please switch on the cameras. So
Управитель.
now it's with an authority and with archetype of the ruler. Artem is
Чи
speaking.
було щось, що вам відгукнулося?
What
Так,
was
що вас зацікавило
interesting, what was touching for you in your information? Hello. For me, it was interesting that I do not anything about my audience. I was very much surprised. I was not speaking about it at all. And you are not alone.
доки нас не поставлять перед фактом. Так?
It
Як маркетолог
it
стикаюся
starts
з тим,
when we
що
see the fact.
які говорять про те, що давайте
Often, as a marketologist, I see the people who come to me and say, "Let's create a strategy." But who is your target audience? Oh, we don't know. And we start with thinking about this first. Thank you for this impression. So I see in the chat, it was interesting about the archetypes, and I was thinking about communication and how people know about me, about my products.
Добрий вечір всім.
Good evening to all.
Я зрозуміла, що в мене
And I understood that in my field
трішки складається. Тобто складається
there are lots of
тому що
puzzles
дуже багато
which coincide
інформації, але ти не знаєш,
a bit
як цієї великої інформації
into a
зробити
picture.
таку
So
набору
lots of information, but you do not know how to make this information short to be very
Дякую велике.
approaching and understandable for people. Thank you very much. Very nice. Who else wants to join? Good evening, all. Very interesting about archetypes and lots of things were wrote about it. And it was interesting how to present ourselves through advertising and of course an interesting side with whom you work and how to present your art and collaboration is very interesting because we do very often you do everything yourself. Thank you for your comment. Anybody else wants to make a comment? And it's very important, a good approach as in sports. If you swim in a wrong way, you will use lots of efforts, but you will not advance. So you reminded me about the positioning.
на TEDxі, знаєте, є оці
Once on the TEDx conferences, there was a video, a piano player was speaking what influences a playing a work. So it starts with a positioning on a chair with his buttocks, and in this way he will play. Whether it is comfortable or not, that will make his playing acceptable for audience or not. And today we are speaking. Are you playing in a comfortable position, or maybe you can look around and think how to make your position more comfortable? For example, if you wanted to eat and you have food in the refrigerator, and you know that it is there, and I know that I can go to take something for drink. It's okay. But if I know that the fridge is empty, I will want to eat even more. So the comfort should be everywhere to work in a proper way. Somebody else wants to share the impressions?
Я буду зараз передавати тоді слово
So I
Ользі.
give the floor to Olga, and I will thank you for your involvement, for your active participation in chat. It was very nice to see your impressions, and you shared very interesting and very sincere ideas. And thank you for everyone who switched on. And Olga, and of course, thank you. And materials were very interesting, and I will be very much thankful if you share the materials, and it will be very interesting and useful for all of us, because the topics of communication is very relevant, and so we need your information. We need to accomplish your task for information. We have only one day. Please, if you need to answer something, ask us, but the deadline is tomorrow. And I would like to add, colleagues, it's for your interest. Today you got new understanding that communication should touch your audience, should speak about your talents, and don't put it back. It's your chance. Please use it. It's not a home task, but it's your opportunity. So wait. We are waiting for you. Our European colleagues are waiting for your information, and European markets wait for your products. Once again, I thank Olga Lushchyk for this today's dynamic and very very complex evening. Please follow us, follow our information on our information resources in Telegram channel. Next meeting this week, and we continue to work. Greetings to all residents of Center of Creative Industries in Ukraine, and you can visit the same events in our partners in the European countries, and this is the possibility of communication and co-working and the opportunity for next projects. Thank you, and see you again.
Recording